This video is for multipotentialite and neurodivergent, unconventional people who want to experience radical freedom. Now, what do I mean by that? That is, well, breaking free from societal expectations or being more authentic. So we live in a neurotypical society, but we're neurodivergent. So all the conventional wisdom, the societal structures, the conventional norms, the societal expectations, the hierarchies are all designed by neurotypicals for other neurotypicals. And that keeps us small because we can't live up to those expectations because we're the opposite, basically. And of course, we spend decades, some people spend their whole lives trying to fit in, trying to be accepted, trying to be liked by the neurotypical society. And it's no wonder that we become addicted to external validation, we become perfectionists, people pleasers, we hide away parts of our true selves in order to be accepted by a society that not only looks down on us, but actually rejects us. And that just reinforces our feelings of inadequacy and not being good enough, and basically keeps us small. But look, it doesn't have to be this way. There is a cheat code, and I'm going to show it to you. So the cheat code is this. Every conventional wisdom that I experience, I do the opposite. So why do I do the opposite? Well, I'm an unconventional person. So conventional wisdom does not work for unconventional people. As a neurodivergent or a multipotentialite, I'm unconventional, and all the conventional wisdoms are for neurotypicals. Now, why is this such an important point? Well, neurotypicals and multipotentialites or neurodivergents, our brains are designed in the polar opposite ways, and as a result our worldview is often in polar opposites as well. So let me explain what I mean. So a neurotypical is a convergent thinker and a multipotentialite is a divergent thinker, okay? So it's the opposites. So neurotypicals zig, we zag. When neurotypicals niche down, we niche up. When neurotypicals think inside the box, multipotentialites think outside the box. Essentially, they're PCs and we're Macs. So the operating system and all the software updates for PCs do not work in Macs. But the more we try and get this PC operating or software to work for us, the more it keeps us small because it's just not fucking working. Okay? So what can we do about this? Well, first of all, we've got to realize this is not a new problem. This has been going on for millennials. Socrates, Plato were talking about, authenticity and not conforming to societal expectations and groupthink 2,500 years ago. These here are some of the philosophers or some of the most celebrated and greatest philosophical minds in the history of the human race, both from the East and the West. All talked about to be authentic is to break free and stop conforming to societal expectations. And the way to live a life full of purpose and meaning is to be authentic to ourselves. It's to live a life that's true to ourselves. And again, look, here's Alan Watts' backwards law. He talked about this a lot, so I'm going to read out some quotes and then explain them. The desire for security and the feeling of insecurity are the same thing. To hold your breath is to lose your breath. Okay, so what does this mean? The misery happens when we're trying to be happy. Insecurity happens when we're trying to be secure. Feeling lost happens when we're trying to find meaning and purpose. Okay? This means every time we try and be something, we get the opposite because it highlights the fact we don't have it. And this is our egos. Our egos try and control everything, but we control nothing, which means we feel out of control, which creates stress and anxiety, which means our egos try to control everything, but we control nothing, which means we feel out of control, which creates stress and anxiety, which means we control everything, and so on and so on, okay? This is another great quote. Muddy water is best cleared when leaving it alone. In other words, it's our thinking, it's our overthinking, our overanalyzing that creates most of our problems. Because most problems in life is out of our control. But we spend so much time and energy overthinking and overanalyzing, trying to solve problems that are unsolvable. And this just creates so much stress and anxiety in our lives, which drains our energy. So let me give you an example. Let's say we get pissed off and we're trying to solve the problem of getting more engagement and getting more views on social media. We can overthink this, we can overanalyze, and maybe it's this, and maybe it's this, maybe it's the time we're posting, maybe we're not using the right hashtags. This just creates a lot of stress and anxiety, which basically means we're going to burn out. Now, none of that is going to help you get more engagement or more views. Quite the opposite. However, if we stop trying to solve problems that are unsolvable or, solve the muddy water problem and actually focus on things we can control, i.e. creating better content, creating more engaging content, creating content that's, more vulnerable or resonates deeper with ourselves and indeed the younger version of ourselves who's our audience, then we will get more views without all this stuff. Okay? Now this is the backwards law. So the backwards law dovetails in beautifully with inversion thinking, which was created by another multipotentialite. By the way, all these people are multipotentialites unless you hadn't worked it out. So there's a German philosopher called Carl Jacobi. I've probably pronounced that really badly. I apologize to anybody that said Jacobi. But he was a multipotentialite mathematician, and he used a system or a technique, inversion thinking, to simplify everything. It simplifies problems. And he always said, invert, always invert. And this was popularized by Charlie Munger, who's another famous thinker. This is a very sort of tongue-in-cheek quote from his, but it does perfectly highlight sort of the inversion thinking technique and strategy. Tell me where I'm going to die, so I'll never go there. In other words, tell me all the problems or the things that can make me fail, so I can avoid them to be successful. Tell me where I'm going to die, and then I'll never go there, so I will live. He died last year, so obviously that strategy didn't work, but it was tongue-in-cheek. So let's go into this. So let's use this here, purpose. So how can we use inversion thinking to create more purpose and meaning in our lives? So the example is, instead of asking, how can I find meaning and purpose in my life, ask, what habits and ideologies drain me of energy and leave me unfulfilled and inauthentic? Now, the application of that is, list all the habits, ideologies, and interactions with others that drain you and leave you feeling unfulfilled and inauthentic, and then avoid doing them. So let's have a look here. Inversion thinking. How to fail at finding meaning and purpose. So if we wanted to fail, we would chase external validation. We would not follow our core values. We would avoid self-reflection. We would chase money and status. We would believe that success equals happiness. We would give up easily. We wouldn't help others. We would conform to societal norms and expectations. We would neglect relationships. If we do all those things, we will fail at finding meaning and purpose. But equally, if we avoid doing them, we're going to experience more purpose and meaning. Now, this can work in pretty much anything. Look at a business strategy. Now, so the example, instead of asking, how can we succeed in this market, ask, what are the ways we could fail in this market? So let's look at that. How can we fail with our business strategy? Don't road test our product. Don't create content. Don't create a USP. Do the same things as everyone else. Don't solve the problem uniquely. Inconsistent messaging. Scroll on social media all day. Give up when the going gets tough. Be perfectionistic. If we do all those things, we will fail with our business strategy. However, if we avoid them, we're going to be more successful at our business. Now, again, this works. Let's have a look at productivity. Productivity, instead of asking what habits can make me more productive, ask what habits reduce your productivity. By eliminating these negative habits, one can naturally become more efficient and more productive. So let's have a look at it. So, scrolling on social media. Phone notifications, leave them on. Scrolling on YouTube, be more perfectionistic. Have a fear of failure, be procrastinator. Spend lots of time in indecision. Create unnecessary meetings. Email overload. If you do all those things, you're going to fail at your productivity. If you avoid them, you're going to be more productive just naturally, okay? And look, it works with anything. Creativity. If you want to fail at creativity, just create for the audience. Care what the audience thinks. Care about views. Get discouraged at lack of engagement. Stop posting content. Overthink everything. Listen to your inner critic. Try and control everything. Do all those things and you will fail at your creativity. Avoid doing them and you will be more successful at your creativity. So look, there is the cheat code. Whenever live backwards, think backwards, use backwards law, use inversion thinking to simplify, find out ways that you're going to fail at something and then avoid doing them. And every time you experience some sort of conventional wisdom from society, from the neurotypical society, do the opposite, because you're an unconventional person. It might not be a direct 180 pivot, but do that, go in that direction first and then iterate it from there. If you do all those things, you will live a life that is more true to yourself, which will help you avoid the most common dying regret, which is, I wish I'd lived a life that was more true to myself and not what other people expected of me. So I hope this helps, and peace out.